Hey, my name's Darin, and this is going to be a short and sweet tutorial of how to get started with vibe coding. So what is vibe coding? Vibe coding is essentially making things with code that was generated by AI. You can still write code yourself if you want, and you probably will from time to time. And I think the idea is just that you can get started without a whole bunch of programming knowledge. There's no computer science degree needed. You just need access to the internet and a computer and an AI, and should be off to the races. So, in terms of tools to use, basically, I think this is kind of going to be up to you. But what we're going to focus on today are ChatGPT and Claude for research. If you're, you have an idea and you're trying to figure out how do I make it, what's going to be involved, how big of a project is this, right? How do I just get started right now, that kind of thing. I usually do that with ChatGPT or Claude. You can also, you can do this in Cursor if you want, but that's just my preference. So if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, it's just chatgpt.com. You make an account. And yeah, you ask it questions, and it's pretty straightforward. You can also use Claude. Claude is Claude.ai. And yeah, so you might say, I want to make a chess program so that I could play chess in a web browser with my friends, right? And it can kind of give you a summary of that. It can give you actual code to use. It's really this is not going to be a huge deep dive on how to use LLMs like this for research. But anyways, those are two tools, ChatGPT and Claude, that I usually use for the research stage of just kind of getting a sense of what is going to be involved in making the thing, right? And then actually making the thing. How do we do that, right? Well, two things that are kind of the bread and butter of vibe coding for me personally are Cursor and GitHub. So Cursor is going to be making your code, making edits to your code, writing code, suggesting changes, right? And then GitHub is going to be managing your code so that if you make a change and then you want to go back to where you were before, let's say I make a bunch of changes over the course of 2 weeks, and then I decide I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go back to how it was before, right? GitHub can help you do that painlessly, and it can also help you work on your project across multiple devices and share your code with other people. If you want to invite people to your project so that they can commit code and make changes to the project without you necessarily having to be there at the same time, you can do that. So yeah, not really going to do a deep dive on any particular aspect of any of these here in this video, but essentially you can get Cursor from cursor.com, download it, get your account set up. I think you get a pretty good sized free trial. Let me close out. Let's see here. Let's give me a new window. And yeah, and I think Cursor Pro is now free if you're a student. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, yeah, you would eventually reach this page, right? Once you've downloaded Cursor, and this is where you would make your code edits, and you would actually where we'll start is we will just get GitHub Desktop as well. So that's going to be, before I get ahead of myself, GitHub Desktop. Yeah, so it's just desktop.github.com/download. And you will download it for whatever device you're on. I'm usually on a Mac. Today I'm on my gaming PC that's Windows. So, yeah, I'm sure there's account creation here if you don't have a GitHub account at some point. But yeah, basically what you'll do is once you've downloaded GitHub Desktop, you will be in a screen kind of like this. And we are going to come up here and we're going to say File, new repository. I'm just going to call it a repo. That's what everyone calls it. It's a long word. A new repo, and we're just going to call it, I don't know, my first vibe coding repo. And note, I've got dashes here. I don't think you're allowed to have spaces, right? It'll complain. Yeah, so just do dashes or underscores, and it could be all caps or lower. I prefer lowercase. And vibe coding demo is going to be my description. You can tell it, where you want this to be placed in your computer. I prefer to just I have a GitHub folder in my computer, and just all of my GitHub projects are in there, so I'll just leave this how it is right now. I don't touch any of this at the moment. We're just going to say create repository and then publish, and all that does is it keeps the code private. That's what I would say. Publish it, and what that does is essentially your folder, your empty folder for your vibe coding project, was now just pushed to, there's a copy of it now on GitHub's computer out there in the cloud. And if we want to make changes to our project on our local environment here on our computer, we can do that without ever worrying that, let's say we break the whole project, or things go really wrong, right? We can very easily come back and revert to the previous version that was working, and delete your changes where you tried to change 15 things at once and it all broke, and you're stressed and it's depressing, and very quickly you can just go back to your safe space of working code and start over again, right? And we won't do like a deep dive on GitHub today, but all we're going to do is we're just going to open this repo in Cursor, right? So we're going to say, I'm in Cursor now. I'm going to open project. And you got to find in your computer where that repo was. So again, for me, it's in my GitHub folder. And I have lots of projects, but we just want, my first vibe coding repo, right? And so here we are. It's big, blank. There's like nothing here, right? Because we haven't built anything, right? And the important part, let me actually, just while I'm in here, I'm going to turn up the font size. I recently turned 30, and turning up the font size is my favorite thing right now. Okay. So you're in your chat here. We're in agent mode by default. This is what we want for right now. And we're just for this video, we're just going to make something, right? Can you make me a tic-tac-toe game for the web browser? Right? And so I'm going to hit enter. And just like you're probably familiar with, if you've ever used ChatGPT or Claude, you get a response, right? And then the important thing here is it's going to suggest all these changes, right? It's like, okay, well, what do we need to change about this big empty file to make it into a tic-tac-toe game, right? Well, we need an HTML file, which if you're not familiar with HTML, we won't go super deep, but essentially this is your document that's going to be on the web for people to look at and use. It's kind of the structure of your tic-tac-toe game, you could say. It's the page, right, that people are going to go to. And it's going to give us some JavaScript, which is, we won't go into JavaScript in this video, but it's really, essentially you can think of it as, this is your computer program that's going to run the tic-tac-toe game. We did not write this. This was written by Cursor. And then finally, some CSS in styles.css, just to kind of edit the layout of the page a little bit, make it look nicer. And yeah, so I'm actually, because this is vibe coding, we are not going to obsessively go through every line of code here like you would in normal programming. We are just going to come here and say, we're going to accept the changes that Cursor gave us, right? And we're just going to see kind of our starting point of our base tic-tac-toe game. Where are we at, right? We're just going to say accept all, right here. And you'll see they have hotkeys. There are hotkeys, especially on Mac. It's really nice to do things in cursor. It's very user-friendly, but we'll just hit accept all. And you'll see in our GitHub, it was empty, and now it has all this green stuff, which means it added code, right? All this code that was added. We have everything you see in cursor in this window behind me here is now showing up in GitHub because we just made those changes, right? So in our repo, it's essentially letting us know that, like, hey, some changes have been made, and if you want, I'm not gonna move forward with this code until I see that it actually is working like I want it to be. But we can send a copy of this out to our cloud copy out there on GitHub's computer somewhere, and it'll be kind of our essentially we'll make the update, right, to our repo out there in the cloud, and that'll be our new kind of main version of the file, I guess. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but all we're going to do right now is what I want to do is open this. How do I open it with? I'm going to go to my File Explorer, and I'm going to go find the project. Where is it? GitHub. What I want to do is open the page. It's a website, right? So I want to open it as a web page. I'm going to open it with Chrome in a web browser, right? And here we are. So we have tic-tac-toe. And let's try it. Seems to be working. I'm going to let player O win. Player O wins, right? Awesome. Okay, so we can restart the game. Wow, that's a really, really good start. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and keep that code. I'm not going to delete it or change it. We're just going to say in our GitHub page here, initial commit. This is a whole thing of like writing good messages here. We're not super focused on that right now, but tic-tac-toe game. And you can click this. I like to just control enter because it's faster, but you can click commit 3 files to main. And so the important thing here is we push the code. So we've committed, essentially we've made the commitment that yes, I want to use that code. We're going to move forward with this code, right? And the next part is make sure that we push it to our remote copy of the project, our remote cloud repo out there on GitHub's computer somewhere. We're going to push it. And that makes sure that our copy of this project out there in the cloud is updated with the latest changes, right? So yeah, really, I think where I would probably, the last thing I'll just share is let's do something that we, let's make a change that we end up not being a fan of really quick. So make everything purple. So we're asking cursor, make everything purple, and it's going to go through and say, okay, what changes do I need to make everything purple? So it made a change. I go back to GitHub and I see, okay, it changed. All it changed was in my CSS file, it changed some colors, right? It also, okay, changed my box shadow to be purple. The heading is going to be purple. Right, great. So I'm not going to commit this yet, right? I'm just going to come back to my Google Chrome. I'm going to hit refresh. And man, honestly, I'll just say I kind of like this. I like the purple. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we will pretend that we're moving forward with it just for a second. We'll say fix everything must be purple. Again, not a great commit message. That's not really the point of this video. But we've moved forward with, and we've pushed it. We've said, hey, send the purple version of this site out to my my remote copy, right? And you might say, oh man, I really don't want it to be purple. I want it to be how it was before. Let's go back, right? Well, all you have to do is come in here in the History tab, click on that commit that we did, those changes, and all I have to do is right-click, revert changes in commit. This will save you so much time and effort and headaches. Revert changes in commit. And so I'm going to hit refresh. You can see, look, it's not all purple anymore, right? I didn't have 3 hours of banging my head against the wall trying to fix the code, finding all the things that were wrong. I just reverted the changes, right? So because that's the because this is what we want for right now. This is the version of the project that's not purple. This is what I want. I'm going to go ahead and push that code back to my remote copy of the repo in the cloud. And yeah, I guess the last thing I'll add is that you might make some changes and test them out. So let's do this really quick. Make everything neon yellow. That sounds, yeah, that's a lot worse than purple. And we're just gonna say accept. So let's hit refresh really quick. That's also kind of cool, but yeah, not my favorite. Not my favorite. Okay, so let's say I've made some changes, but I have not pushed them. Right? I have not committed or pushed those changes. I tried something. I hit refresh in the browser and I see how it looks, and never mind. I don't want that. Right? All I'm going to do is come in here to GitHub Desktop, and I am just going to say, right-click, discard changes. They are now gone forever, and bam, you are back to the version that you had before. So yeah, I think that's probably where I'll stop. Some examples of things I've vibe coded. This is my portfolio page right now, Darin.tech. I have this nice 3D scene with some 3D models of a shark and an angelfish and SpongeBob's house. All of this was vibe coded with Cursor. I have an AI chatbot that has, helps people find paintball events. I have finally this Tron game as well. This only took about 2 hours with Cursor. It broke a lot. It broke many times, but it's in a much better place now. So, anyways, that is. Let me just stop the game. That is vibe coding. I'll definitely do some more videos. If there's something you want to learn about or questions you have, just let me know. Thanks for watching.